going on, everybody? Welcome back, and today we're going to be getting into the Hellcat trigger from the guys over at Apex Tactical. But before we get any further, a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Hidden Hybrid Holsters, bringing you that sweet handmade Amish leather to fulfill your needs from belts to holsters. Whether it's treating that 1911 right, tucking that new Army hand cannon into your pants, or just a little bit of leather to go with that sweet 80s mustache, check out hiddenhybridholsters.com or at the link in the description. Now, if you've paid attention to my channel, I've done a bunch of videos on different Apex triggers, from the Glocks to the M&P, and now this Hellcat. This thing is a 13+1 round little pocket rocket, and if you're looking for more information specifically on the Hellcat, I'll leave the link to my review on it down below. Now, Apex did provide this trigger to the channel for free to test out, and they have been very cool to the channel over the years, and I really appreciate them working with me. We're going to talk about a couple of different things as far as why would you want to change the trigger, what it's going to accomplish for you, and then of course look at it up close, do all of those pulls, and then give you my overall feelings on it. Now, why would you want to change a trigger on something like this? Striker fired setups generally don't have the best triggers. They're usually meant for kind of just the average overall person, the person that has never really fired a gun before. Generally, they're going to be pretty long. There's going to be a lot of over travel, a lot of take up, a lot of length on the reset. They're not per se your finely tuned 1911 or 2011 trigger, but they are very usable. So triggers may or may not be your thing. What something like this does is it cleans up all that slop, cleans up all that grit, maybe makes it a little shorter, and maybe makes it a little bit lighter. Now, specifically this one on the Hellcat does not lighten it up that much, and you probably don't want a trigger super light that's gonna be on something that is this small, because these are those really deep concealed ultra, tight concealment EDC pieces, which are probably going to be deep down in an appendix holster, maybe your bag, maybe your purse, whatever, for my lady shooters out there. But you definitely don't want something so light on it that you could possibly activate it on accident. Whatever skill level you are at, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and definitely leave me a comment down below on if you have changed triggers in anything in the past. Let's go ahead and get into this thing, talk about all the parts, the trigger pulls, all that good stuff that you are interested in. Then we'll talk a little bit about my feelings on it, all that range footage and that good stuff out there. If you're interested in anything you see here down today, like that trigger, I will leave those links down below, or you can check out my homepage, tacticalconsiderations.com, and see all the links for everything that I have ever done. And if you're into that subscribe star thing, I do have exclusive content for my subscribe stars over there. We're gonna go ahead and get into this trigger from Apex right now. All right, let's go ahead and knock out this Apex trigger here for the Hellcat. Now this thing, look at that little fella, just fits right in the hand. Actually feels quite good, especially for being that compact, even with the bigger hands, because they've just done a good job on at least this one, the extended mag there. So let's talk about the Apex trigger here. It's that standard design that Apex is pretty much known for. You know, they do a really good job designing the trigger, and they went to a thicker shoe safety design right here. As compared to what they used to be, initially that design was kind of that thin blade of aluminum. Now it's got a much better tactile feel to it. Still has that traditional Apex design that a lot of you may know from the Glocks. Let's go ahead, do some pull tests here. Okay, extremely smooth. So this trigger, way smoother than it used to be. There's your take up hard wall. Get you some better light, there we go. Take up hard wall, immediate break. Reset, hard wall again, break. So even trying to go as slow as I can there is just zero creep to that trigger. It breaks straight away. Before we do the pull test, let's talk about the parts that come, so you guys will have a good idea. Come with it, so you guys will have a good idea of what you are gonna get into here. All right, so obviously we can see in the bag right here. I can get my big old fingers in here. All right, so you're gonna have your trigger spring right there. You're gonna have your factory trigger shoe, and you're gonna have a striker spring. So they did use a striker spring to overcome some of the weight there, some of that feeling there. Oop, the spring doesn't go in there. So fairly easy to install. The toughest part of this install, just so you guys know, is going to be putting the trigger shoe in the vise and kind of making sure you slowly get it in there, because it's not as easy as some, but you're really just pushing one pin in there. It's easy, and if you don't have a vise, you can use a hammer or take it somewhere that maybe somebody with a little bit more skill or confidence or tools or whatever, but Most people at home can do this. Very simple. They have the instructions up online. Let's go ahead, get rid of this. Do a couple of these pull tests here. All right, make sure my gauge is reset. This is a little tough because it's freaking tiny. All right, let's see if I can actually get this going right here. Okay, so right there on the gauge, this thing never wants to zoom in when I do this. You can see we're just over 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Now this is a small pistol. Think about where we would be concealing this thing. I do not want a 3-pound trigger on something like this. That's just me. Okay, we are almost dead nuts in the same place right there at 5 pounds, tiny bit over, maybe 5 pounds, 4 ounces. But I'm happy with that, and I'm happy that it's that consistent because I'm a guy pulling on a gauge, not a computer. And there we are again right there, 5 pounds, 2 ounces. So extremely consistent here on this trigger. Again, we'll take one more nice up close look at this. Okay, get that camera to zoom in real good for you. There's that take up, very hard wall, immediate break. Now let's go ahead and talk about that range footage, more rough feelings, and is this Apex trigger something you may be interested based on the performance it provides. Apex has put out a ton of triggers, and this one for the Hellcat definitely follows suit with the quality, feel, and the fit and finish that we would expect from them. On the Hellcat, this trigger takes out that grittiness, it takes out that extra take up and reset, but it doesn't get too light. Like I said before, something this small is gonna be that ultra deep concealment, and it's a little bit smaller, well, a lot of bit smaller than what I normally carry. So I don't want a trigger in here that is so light that it could cause me problems out there, you know, if I'm in a really stressful situation and I have to use it. And of course, that's safety that Apex is known for. If you've never seen the testing that they do, specifically drop testing and all the different angles and the high-speed camera work they do, they put that stuff out every once in a while, and they do a ton of testing to make sure that everything they put out is ultra safe for me and you, the end user. The one little bit of a downside on this one is it's just not as easy as, like, say, the Glock trigger. Now, those of us that install Glock triggers a lot, it's just, you're spoiled. It's so easy, and there's just nothing else out there that is as easy to install as a Glock trigger. Most people that are mechanically inclined are going to be able to get this one done, but if you have any questions, definitely take it to somebody who's qualified to install it if you just don't have the confidence to do it yourself. If you do, Apex has very detailed instructions online that make installing something like this very easy, even for the first time doing it like I did on this one. I hope you all enjoyed seeing this new trigger for the Hellcat from Apex here. It's definitely worth looking into if you're into changing out your triggers. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Definitely give the video a like if you are into it. If you want to check out some exclusive content, you can head over to my SubscribeStar. All those links will be down below, like I said, but if you're on YouTube, they don't allow those here, so you've got to check my homepage, tacticalconsiderations.com. You guys get out there, have some fun. Remember, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and I will definitely see you guys on the next one.